All right. Hey, everybody, welcome. I'm glad you're all here. I got some good friends that just showed up. I haven't seen in a long time. I'm very excited that they can join us. And I'm just going to kick it off, man. Got my standard. We got Ash in the Wind by Skillet. Just listen to the words. That's all you got to do. Take a time out and do it. Some technical difficulties. So go figure. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear it. I feel it. Absolutely. Interesting. Okay. So working through technical difficulties. Go figure. So life goes on. And what I'll do is I will just move over to the first thing that I'm planning on talking about, which is defining your service. And what I'm going to do is share the screen with you. And feel free, drop comments in the chat. I will be able to see it. I might not be able to respond right away. Let me know you can see the slide presentation right there. Cool. Awesome. All right. So this is like a quick overview what I want to talk about defining your post service value. Today's specific topic is your business pillar, and the business is about you selling yourself afterward. You need to know what your value is, and as you grow outside of the military, you need to understand the value that you bring first and foremost. Secondly, the value that you bring is a total different skill set than what most people are going to be coming into the regular civilian workforce with. My mouth is all tight today. All right. So this is just a quick strategic guide to calculate your income, your lifestyle, what your value is and the worth in your retirement if you plan on moving into another position working outside of the government. Okay. So as this slowly scrolls, there's a philosophy that you have right here, right? You're going to take this command philosophy and it's going to take a focus specifically on your value. Imagine being like at the range, okay? Think about all the experience, knowledge, networks, and capabilities that you have to create your value. It's what you want to project of yourself and what you think your value is to whoever you're planning on working with, right? So if you plan on having a similar paycheck, we'll use simple numbers, as a specific rank, you're making $100,000 a year with all of your benefits. Okay. Now you got to take the consideration of your BAH, your medical benefits, and all the other goodies, your TSP allotments and all that good stuff. That is all of your value. But then you're adding in your experience, the knowledge, all of your networks, all the different capabilities and the experiences that correlate to what that value brings, right? Your $100,000 salary on a regular civilian job, base pay is going to be about 75K in their eyes until you can prove that value. Okay. Once you can prove that value, then you can fight with the compensation to make sure. Just remember, you're not going to get the same benefits when you get out. Yeah, they might be similar because you're going to have, TRICARE for life and all that. And some companies, they won't give you insurance benefits if you have TRICARE for life, just to give you a perspective. So you got to take that into consideration, and that's going to be part of your compensation. So if you have the $100,000 while you're on active duty, you need to make at least 125 when you get out for the same compensation benefits, because you're going to lose that 25K is going to be an actual expense, because you're going to have to pay for your own housing. You're going to have to pay for your own medical benefits. You're going to have to create your own 401k. Okay. So those are huge differences. And that's very important. And that is your value. You have to know what your value is. It's not a fixed rate and it's not a variable. It's what these assets that you have that you bring to the table. And if that makes sense, give me a thumbs up in the chat. And that'll make it a lot easier as we move forward. And then what you need to do right here is here's a quick little sit rep. It's your lifestyle audit, right? So what you have is a massive change. You have a lifestyle that you've grown accustomed to, And what you need to do is make sure that you can maintain that lifestyle. It might be simple, it might be extravagant. Who knows? You might have just bought 2 cars right before you retired. Not too smart, in my personal opinion, but hey, that's your business, not mine. But you need to be aware of this transition and how you can either improve it, maintain it, or degrade it. The most important thing is to maintain it. But most of the time, we always want to improve it. Most of the time, it can be improved when you retire because now you're going to have supplemental income. That supplemental income obviously is your retirement pension pay. Later dates, you'll have your 401k/TSP or BRS, whatever you want to call it. And then that supplemental income if you plan on working, right? It's a huge change. Not everybody's expecting how to do this. And I can honestly tell you from my own personal experience, transitioning twice, not that way, but transitioning into retirement from active duty/reserves and working full time, and then currently retiring from the regular 9 to 5 so I can focus on this to help you guys out. It's a big difference. And I'm finding out myself, the structure is huge. And if you don't have structure, it's going to be being a train wreck, and you don't want to do that. So the key thing is to maintain a steady state. So you got to make sure you focus on that specific priority. If you can improve it, even better. And this window here, in my personal opinion, is 24 months. So back here at the beginning of the active duty phase with the lifestyle cost, that's 24 months out from retirement, in my personal opinion. If you compress this to the 12-month mark, that's really pushing it, in my personal opinion. There might be other people that have different opinions. Anybody got any feedback out there? Let me know. What was your timeline when you planned for your retirement? Just drop it in the chat and let me know. Because what I have found for myself was that it took at least 12 months to get my stuff taken care of just for the VA alone, because it was a lot of information. So, all right, let's see here. Where are we going? My chat is not opening. All right, I see a thumbs up. Feel free, open your mic up and let me know what you dropped in the chat, because I cannot see it. It's not cooperating with me.
That was me,
yeah,
brother.
Dave, go ahead, man.
I said 36 to 48 months is the time I started really knuckling down and preparing, Sandra and I preparing ourselves for retirement, because we knew it was inevitable, making sure all bills were paid off with the exception of the mortgage, and plenty in savings. I'm not an investor, so made sure we had robust savings.
Wow, that's a long time. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. That's the timeline, or I knew we really needed to start really concentrating on this. Probably closer to the 36-month mark, but it likely bled over beyond that.
Wow. I appreciate the feedback, because that's a lot longer than I expected. And like you said, you were not an investor. So I wasn't an investor at first, but I actually set a large sum aside while I was still on active duty. I was lucky enough that I could do that, where I was dumping a ton of money into my TSP. So that gave me the opportunity to sit back now and relax. So
exactly.
What was your experience with the VA and the TRICARE for Life? Because you were straight active duty, correct?
Correct. So it's so the VA, I think they did a fantastic job at MacDill Air Force Base in their the process that they have for their transition classes. Plus, you're at a senior command, so everyone is really focused on getting all their. Most people at the command are going to leave via retirement. So you're talking to people who have retired before you, and you're learning from their experiences. But preparation for the VA went very well. I put it probably around that 36-month mark, started to look at things that I had always put off and started getting those addressed, treatment if needed.
Wow. Okay. That's great information, because like I said, what I found was that 24-month happened to be the best timeline that I determined based off of my experience, because I had that 12-month window to get mine done. But you're saying 36. So, and maybe even pushing it back to, let's just say 26 20, 24, 30 months would probably
Yeah,
be.
between 2 and 3 years, I think that's prudent. I think that's you can't go wrong the earlier start preparation.
You know what? I totally agree with that, and I believe a lot more younger people have been following my stuff, which has been fascinating to me. Um, because my focus, like I was looking at it, hey, look, find the older guys, and they're going to be able to help, help those guys. And I'm finding younger guys reaching out and saying, hey, that sounds like a really good plan. Tell me more. And it's been enlightening because the younger they are, the better off they are. And then I'm finding more about different insurances and stuff like that, and teaching them how to invest that way as well, because they can utilize that as a dividend to themselves and become their own bank and all that good stuff. That's a whole nother topic. We'll talk another day,
Sure.
but I appreciate the feedback.
For sure, brother.
All right, let's move on to the next slide because I got a couple of them tonight. I'm going to blow through just for entertainment. But here's the key thing, and the way this is set up as a redeployment. And the cool part about this is the gears make perfect sense. And Dave, you can relate to this probably because it's a team effort. Two cogs, and you're running going two different things, and it makes me curious for other people's perspectives to see how things work because everybody's got a different opinion. Do you want to work? Does your spouse work? Does she really or he really want to work? Can one of you carry the load of how much change is going to happen because now you're going to be together all the time? Now what? Do you want to spend that much time with each other? Are you going to have more of an opportunity to spend more time to catch up on the things that you missed? So are you going to do stay at home? Are you going to do remote? You're going to do like all these different things. How do you look at it and the load shift? And let's just say, you take a year off and the spouse, is say, hey, take the year off, enjoy it. I'll carry the load. You still got your retirement income, which is the good part. They have their income or they don't, whatever. I don't, that's irrelevant. The point is you're together and you can support each other and figure out. And the most important thing about the transition is communicating with the family. And if you go back the last couple of videos, it starts with your body, and your body with your communication and your spirituality, with your being. The being includes your balance, and the balance is the rest of your family. And they are most important part of your transition. You need to communicate with them from the jump. Like Dave said, he started early, which I'm happy to hear that. I had no idea it was that long, and I've known you for a long time. But when you do not include the other parts of your family, it can create tension. And instead of meshing the gears, you end up grinding the gears, and that could be a bad thing. So that is important to make sure that you have everybody included from the jump. And then, like we said earlier, you have the healthcare and the benefits. And all of these fancy things over here, stipends, wellness programs, and healthcare. Most companies are starting to get on board with this now, but in reality, they don't offer this stuff. And then that becomes an additional paycheck. If you're near a base, okay, it works in your favor because you have access to a gym and you don't have to worry about that. Wellness programs, etc., and all that. But if you don't, that's an additional expense that becomes part of your lifestyle that you're used to. Now it's an expense that you didn't have it. And like I said, some employers will not pay for private medical benefits if they know you have the TRICARE. So you play that by ear, and you got to look at that. That's all part of your value, your total compensation, not just the paycheck. Okay. If that makes sense, throw a thumbs up in the chat. I appreciate it. All right. We got another pre-departure logistics. There you go. Bingo. Major purchases. Buy it while you still have a steady paycheck. And then I can attest to this. I know Dave can attest to this, and probably every active duty service member. Any medical procedure, make sure you get it done prior or have it documented so that you can get it taken care of afterward by the VA or whatever. And you don't want any debt when you're getting off of active duty. You try and get everything cleared out as fast as you can, as best as you can, and reduce all your liabilities. Now, if you have already started investing long before he retired. For instance, I know a gentleman, he's a fantastic real estate investor. He started doing his real estate investing. I think he was on active duty for like 6 years and then started buying real estate and flipping real estate. And now he has a massive portfolio and all this good stuff. The guy's well off. He's a very popular guy here in Tampa now. So he reduced his liabilities right off the bat. So you don't want any when you get out. So just make it easy on yourself. Maximize the most that you can to get rid of all the excess baggage prior to retiring, because that reduction in pay is pretty significant at first until you get used to it. And then what we can do here is asset inventory. Okay. Who has not gotten an education? No, I'm kidding. Everybody's got an education. But if you're out there and you don't have a degree, do you think that you're not going to get hired? Just throw it in the chat. What do you think? Do you think you're not going to get hired? And another thing, if you don't have a clearance, do you think you're not going to get hired? Again, I totally disagree. First and foremost, we talked about it. Your value goes back to the very beginning, the very first slide. Your value, you have your network, which is imperative. And they've talked about that in the previous pillars. When you're working with the network, that is probably 75% of where you're going to get an opportunity before you come off active duty, even in the reserves, because you can move from job to job to job. Now, if you have clearances, it's going to be a better opportunity for you, obviously, because the higher the clearance you have, the more opportunities are available to you. As far as education, obviously, the smarter the piece of paper says you are, more opportunities you have. But I will tell you, from personal experience and a lot of friends that I have and know very well that have gotten their PMPs, they've gotten, higher paychecks than some people with masters, because it says that they know how to project manage. I don't have any of that stuff. I've been lucky enough to get network positions because of the people that I know and worked with. They know my work ethic and they knew who I am and the value that I brought. That gave me the opportunities that I've had over my lifetime. So I will never discount that ever again. And my network is nothing more than my net worth. And if I were to look at it now, I'm a gazillionaire. And that's how I look at it, because I would not be where I'm at if it wasn't for the people that I know, because they've helped me grow and become the man that I am today. So you need to focus on what you want and make a decision on how you want to utilize this inventory. And if you have any of these things and you can't find work, hit me up directly. I guarantee you that I can connect you with someone who will definitely look for you in a position within their company that would be valuable. So when you look at that, here you are. Here's your total compensation stack. And we kind of talked about this, right? This is where you're going to be at. If you happen to have spousal income, it's, additional. But this was your original paycheck. This is where you need to focus on the salary gap. You don't have to replace the whole entire check. You just need to make sure you can make that difference, right? So, let's magic number 125, the magic 125. Now you're back down here at your 60% of your 100K. So you're at 60K. The wife might make 40. So if you make an additional 25K, or if you want to make a full 125K and stack it on top of all this, outstanding. That's totally up to you. But you just need to calculate that gap up there. And that's the hardest part, because most of the guys don't understand that. It sounds small, 25K, but that 25K is significant, because now, you ready? Throw taxes on top of it. Oh, by the way, you don't get tax exclusion anymore, unless you decide to take a job that's 330 days overseas, which, by the way, this person won't be so happy to spousal, because they've been putting up with it for 20 plus years already. So just a thought, throwing it out there, might be an opportunity, can help you with those positions too, if you're interested. But here's one of the key last slides, or almost last slide. right? So you got all your surplus capital. You got to take it, especially, and invest in yourself and education. That's how I've gotten to where I'm at. I've invested so much in myself over the last few years, and people on this call can actually attest to that. My quality of life is very simple, but I've actually invested a lot in assets and self-education. Um, it's the most important thing, because if you don't have multiple sources of income, you will struggle. So focus on building assets, not liabilities. Okay. Assets and liabilities are totally different. Liabilities are your credit card. Technically, your home is a liability, even though it's considered an asset. We can talk about that another time. But most important, invest in yourself. Definitely invest in yourself to make it better for you and your family. And as we close this one out, here's your success criteria right here. How do you want to live? Communicate with your family. Do you want a good work-life balance? And share the vision. Define it. Figure it out. How do you want to live your life together? Do you want to buy a home, live up in the mountains? Do you want to sit down on the beach and with the water? Or do you want to jump in a boat and go fishing? That's totally up to you. I don't have any qualms with how you decide how you want to live your life. You are more important to your family than anyone else. That's the most important thing that I can share. Let's see. Less likely, but not impossible. Okay, I can see it now. I don't know why I couldn't see it before, but so be it. So what are your thoughts so far, Dave? Is this good? Are you getting enough value out of this, even though you are retired?
Oh, absolutely. I think as you sit here, and I'm behind the power curve. I haven't caught up on all the modules and everything that you've put together, but just paying attention to the slides and in the mindset of somebody who is not retired, so doesn't have the wisdom gained from experience, I think that they would find that there's a lot of valuable insight here, things to consider, things to prepare for, conversations to be had. I think it's very good.
Is there anything, in your opinion, that I may have missed that I should add, or that you experienced that would be valuable?
Nothing comes to mind right now. 5 minutes after we're done talking tonight, it will. But
That's all right. It's all good. And I'm not trying to put you on a hot seat or anything like that,
and,
but
and I know that you're seeking good constructive criticism, good feedback. Um, Nothing really jumps into my mind right now.
okay, fantastic. I appreciate that. Anybody else on the call, feel free, jump in. It's an open mic night. We'll play it by ear. If not, don't worry about it. If you're driving, that's cool too. Just make sure you're staying safe. But that being said, I'm going to roll into my next one, which makes it really, I think if there's any redundancy, let me know. I don't want to be redundant. But this part is going to be really cool, I think. All right. This is how you master the next build. All right. I don't know why this is moving so slow. So we talked about this already, 18 to 24 months, some people a little bit more, some people a little bit less, but it's a deliberate phase planning that makes it focus specific on you to make sure that you get everything executed properly and everything is done. Okay. And it's a little bit, this might seem to be a little bit, but the 4 pillars that are most focused on in the very beginning, when I started building this stuff out, were your body, being, balance, and business, right? Today's focus is business. And then I've realized that I have to add the 2 more pillars, which is trauma awareness and the financial stability into retirement, not for retirement. So I'm going to upgrade this, but these pillars are the most important part. And remember this, your career, your purpose, and your financial engine after you get out. It's a very important piece of it. And I live this every morning. if you could do something the rest of your life and roll out of bed, absolutely love what you do, what would you want to do? I mean, honestly, what would it take for you to roll out of bed and just, oh shit, I can't wait to do it. I can't wait to do it. That's right now, that's where I'm at. I'm rolling out of bed every morning. It's like, okay, I can't wait to do this. Oh crap, I got to do this. Now it's like, you know what? I don't care. And I have a shit-eating grin on my face all the time now, and I enjoy it just because I'm sitting back, relaxing, and doing something for somebody else. Because we are all service members, and even some people that are in the service industry, readjust this thing. We are built for service. This community, we're built for service for a purpose. What that purpose is, we're still figuring it out. That's why we're still here. But we gave our time in service for others, and we continue to do that. We will always continue to do that. That's why first responders and firemen and cops, military, we continue to go back and help people. Social workers, even after we're done work, we go and volunteer for stuff on the weekends. It's just the nature of the beast. That's what we do. And it's, it makes me laugh sometimes, because if you're not happy doing something, then why are you doing it? I mean, honestly. Let's see here, roll this down a little bit more. So as you're planning your recon, right? Yeah, all right, we're not going to roll into this. 12, 24, or 36, or 48, whatever floats your boat. But this is what I was talking about, your network. While you're doing your recon, you're building out your network. Okay, you have your internal network that you've already built. Most people don't even think about that when they're doing that. But go back and look through your phone and go through and look at all the names and phone numbers and emails and all that stuff that you have. Start reaching back out to those people. Just connect them. Hey, I was just rolling through my phone and my contacts. I saw you. I just wanted to say, hey, I have to start doing this. So if you get a text, this is why. Because I want people to get into this community and make it bigger, because I know we can all help each other. And then as you go out and do your networking through your external network, or you're outside your new career and all that stuff, your neighbors and all that, bring them in. And if they've already retired or transitioned or went to another service or another state or whatever, just reach out to them. And then all the new contacts that you make at networking events specifically, or new jobs, or a ball, or a social event or whatever, just build professional relationships all the time. And that is going to help you with your transition. And it's big. I mean, especially right now, especially in the Tampa Bay area, holy mackerel, there are so many veteran network groups. I can't even keep up with them. Literally, there are so many that I cannot even keep up with. I have an event tomorrow as a perfect example. So it's nonstop. The next objective is you figure out what you want to do. Where do you want to go? Who do you want to be? How do you want to focus on your new career if you want to do that? I got one guy. He is a woodworker. He's going to transition from being a Green Beret to a skilled trade. Figure that one out. But he loves working on wood and building things. If all goes well, he'll build me my shadow box for retirement. Or you go professional services. Obviously, military has lawyers and doctors and financial advisors and all that stuff. Or you could be an entrepreneur like myself. Own and run your own business. But it's a family coordinated effort. You got to make sure that everybody's built in together. It'll never be successful if they don't mesh. This is part of the work balance, life balance, all that good stuff, right? And then here, if you need to acquire new capabilities, there's opportunities. I don't know how many people are familiar with SkillBridge. It is a fantastic opportunity that companies, they have to be accredited through the military prior to, but they get the opportunity. You can apply, and there are so many jobs that are available via SkillBridge now. It's insane. So many companies. I wish I had known about it years ago, but it was one of those things that was hip pocket that nobody shared. Now it's broad information, which is fantastic. But you work for a company for up to 180 days of service, and most of the time the company will hire you, or while you're there, you learn a new skill set. For instance, my friend that does the real estate stuff, he is a SkillBridge sponsor. And what happens is the government still pays you your paycheck, but you don't get pay from the people you're working for, but you're learning all of the skill set, right? And there's people that are doing it. They're getting their general contracting licenses. I've seen him get 4 people already approved and have their licenses already. There was actually one 2 weeks ago, last week, who just graduated and got her GC license. So it's this SkillBridge thing is, for me, it's new, but it's been out there for a while. It's fantastic. And it's literally the entire gamut of what's out there. So if you need to pick up new capabilities, go for it. Or if you want to go get certifications, for instance, CompTIA, which is cybersecurity stuff, you can do that as well. That's what I wound up doing. That's why I went nerd, unfortunately. But that's the way it goes. And then you have internships and formal education. If you go back to school. A lot of people do that as well. After 20 years in the military, I don't know if I want to go back to school full time. That's just me. However, not everybody's like me. I am a unique bird. And then as you go into phase 2, you got your next steps, right? You got your critical actions for the final months of your actual enlistment or commission. What's your most critical asset, right? That thing right there. Got to make sure everything is documented. Everything is covered. Copies of your records, engaged with the VA, et cetera, and all that. I don't want to drill down this because we went through that in that whole pillar. If you need to get more information on it, go for it. We'll dig into that a whole nother time. Here you go. Deploy your network for maximum impact. And that was part of the very first slide. Meet people, external, internal, new groups. You got to build that rapport, and it's all about communication. If you're into social media, you can leverage your digital platforms and all that good stuff. The most important thing, face-to-face, one-on-one, communicating with people and remembering names. And if you meet a hiring manager, or if you meet somebody that says, hey, I know somebody, make sure you get their information. Go with one of those digital, what do you call it? Digital business cards. They're very helpful. There's so many different brands out there. I'm not going to recommend anybody right now, but that would be your thing. And then make sure, we talked about this, your retirement pay and VA compensation, how they work and how they work for your baseline before you figure out what that gap is that you need, right? And if you cannot figure that out, feel free, schedule a call with me. What I'll do is I will actually, in the community on the first post, there's a comment after the welcome that has my calendar link. You can go in there, schedule a time where we can sit down, schedule a 30-minute call, and we can go over whatever questions you have, and we can sit down and go through that discovery. And then from there, we'll set up another strategic call and figure out what the next steps are for your blueprint for your specific issues. Sound good? Cool. Thanks for the thumbs up. All right, let's jump back into this. Good so far, right? There's a lot of good stuff, right? Awesome. Awesome. Let's see. All right, share the screen again. Come on. You can do it. Oh, I broke it. Is it coming back up? Damn it. See, I should have left it alone the first time. Oh, well. And I can't, oh wait, can I change my screen? Oh, crapola. No, it ceased. Damn it. Well, we can walk the dog on this for the time being. I think that the redundancy is pretty clear. And yep, it's stuck. And if I close it out, it'll end up shutting down the whole entire thing. But you can hear me, correct? Just give me a thumbs up. Can you see me? Oh, you can see me? Outstanding. So does anybody have any questions so far while I'm waiting for this to cycle with regard to any of this information? Cool. That makes it a lot easier. So what I'll do is, considering that, again, technical difficulties, it's been killing me lately. I might have to use the other computer talk to this kid to build me a server stack before before the end of the month. My apologies, but my screen just blanked out. So I'm guessing that we're going to have an issue for the rest of the training. Please forgive me. So what I'm going to end up doing is you guys stay put. I'm going to cycle out and then I'll try and come right back in. Bear with me. That's why. I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it. Oh,
You're
shoot.
good, brother.
There we go. Hey, there we go. Awesome. That's the wrong logo, but I'll suck it up. All right, round two. Let's see. Where is my screen? Trying to pull the slides back up. My apologies. So, as I was so rudely interrupted. All right, we're back here with the critical question, right? You got to look at the numbers and if it's passive enough to plan for the life that you have already set up. And you have to be honest with yourself, totally honest with yourself. Because if you can't be honest with yourself, who are you going to be honest with, right? And then you have alternatives that where you can launch your own venture. That's totally up to you. And this is where the entrepreneurship comes in. But there's an option here. And if you give me a half a second. Pardon me. If you are a disabled veteran, a minority, and a female, you are right here in the happy spot in a Venn diagram. That is where you have so many opportunities. If you want to start a business, where the Small Business Administration, you can take advantage of a lot of opportunities. Now, I'm not female and I'm not minority. There's still a lot of options that are out there for veterans. However, if you do happen to have a spouse that is a female, I believe biologically, but I cannot confirm or deny that, a minority, and you are disabled, you get very similar but different options because they would have to be the owner of the company, etc. We can go down on another road, but that's if you want to start a business. But there's a lot of opportunities out there specifically. This is a home run for female minority disabled vets, specifically service disabled connections, and that's fantastic for them. But you know what? Yeah, a life of purpose and profit. Okay. What's more important, purpose or profit? Right now, my purpose is more important. The profit will come later. I'm not worried about it because I'm comfortable with where I'm at. I don't have to worry about anything. So think about that. What is more important, purpose or profit? And if you consider profit more important than purpose, that's your business, not mine. I don't. I'm not worried about it. I'm not going to hold you to it or whatever. But I'm really disappointed that the computer crapped out on me. Uh, but life goes on. So I'll have two parts to this specific pillar today for business, and I appreciate you sticking around with me. Uh, do you have any feedback or anything like that or let me rephrase that. What was probably the biggest takeaway that you got out of today's presentation? And I'm not holding your feet to the fire. Just let it rip. Open mic.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I always go
I
back
know
to.
you're not muted, but I don't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're popping up for sound, but I don't hear you.
I just
So it's
muted it.
probably my end then. Damn. Well, just drop it in the chat. If you, I don't know how good you can type, but hunting and pecking's fine. But in the meantime, I do appreciate everybody that dialed in today. I'm still working through these technical difficulties. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm figuring it's probably the computer. It doesn't have enough RAM. And my speaker is muted for some reason. That's probably what's going on.
Can you hear me?
Okay, let's see. Allow. Always allow. Allow. No. Mm,
Can you hear me?
ha! I hear you typing.
Do you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you now. Every time I go through this thing, there's always something. So when you're using the specific browser, you have to unmute it and let the camera go in and all this stuff. And I forgot to do that. That's why you were muted. Sorry, my fault. Again,
Yeah, no, you're
technical
good.
difficulties.
You're good. No, I think there's a theme that was reoccurring at several different points, and it's engaging in conversation with a spouse, because it is a joint. Obviously, if the service member preparing to retire is single, then that kind of negates that point. Um, but the majority are getting some feedback. But the majority are married, and there is another person in that decision cycle that needs to be part of the conversation, part of the planning, and I think it's important. And I think it probably occurs naturally most of the time, but I still think it's important to emphasize that it's a pretty critical thing to do to have those honest conversations with, well, number one, you said it earlier. If you're not honest with yourself, who can you be honest with? So you have to be honest with yourself, and then the spouses need to be honest with each other in terms of future plans. I think
Yeah,
that's
that's
one
big.
big thing for me. I mean, because Sandra and I always talk through things, so that was not a problem for us. But I can imagine it might be for others.
Yeah, and you know what? There's, I mean, I know a bunch of guys recently, especially they're getting ready to retire, and the spouse dropped papers on them. So
Wow.
imagine that retirement.
Wow.
So it's this society is a little tough right now. So again, communication is the key paramount thing that I've actually learned. And I mean, like I said, we've talked to each other, we've known each other for a very long time. But my communication skills have changed exponentially, especially in the last 5 years because of some of the training that I've gone through.
Well, I can tell. I think you're a much better, communicator. Um, Not that you weren't good before, but there's a pot. You're polished.
Oh, wait, thank you. You can only polish your third so much, though.
This is true. On recruiting duty, my communication skills were never sharper, and more than there's an old saying, in country folk circles, you gotta, you were born with two ears and one mouth, so you should listen twice as much as you speak. And to my point, or to that point, is I learned the importance of shutting my mouth and listening. And you can learn an incredible amount about someone's true desires, goals, aspirations, what's important to them, what's not important to them. And I say that in the lens of being a recruiter, trying to talk to a young man or young lady about enlisting, because you need to have an idea of where they're at and what their desires are. But I'm sure that that could also carry over into, being part of an interview, um, seeking out a new job, going to work for a new company. I think having those good, sharp, polished communication skills are important.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's been
For
it's
sure,
been
bro.
it's been a long time coming. So wait till you see what's coming. That's all I'm going to say. Wait till you see
You've
what.
been building this for a while, man. And what Rome wasn't built in a night, right? So
Exactly. But well, with that being said, I don't want to delay anybody else. What I'm going to do is I'll close out, and Dave, hang tight, man.
okay,
All right, everybody. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We're going to close out for today in today's business pillar and your transition going from active duty and preparing for your retirement. I hope you had a good time. If you need any information, feel free, go back to the post that I said in the very beginning, right below welcome, and you can look there and schedule a 30-minute strategic call with me, and we can go from there. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Talk soon.